The button has been pushed. Hello and welcome to Breckenridge Brewery. What's going on, guys? Thank you, everyone, for coming out, but most importantly, thank you to Magoo.
Hi, boys. How's it going?
Hey.
What's up?
I can't appreciate you guys doing this for us. Obviously, you must be getting sick of seeing the two of us, right? Because it's been a long relationship now.
We
for
love
us.
you guys.
You hear that, guys? They love us, okay?
It wouldn't be a show without you guys in the front row.
Oh, dude, that is not true. It would not be a show without Shay passing out. That's for sure.
That's what I was about to
we'll
say.
throw this out there, guys. It's a hot day. Drink water, or you might end up passing out and hitting your face on the stage like some other idiot I know.
Yeah, who would have thunk, right?
It hurts.
It also happens when CJ meows too loud. But hold on, that's the first thing I need to know. Is it CJ or is it Courtlyn?
It's Courtlyn now. It's my real name.
This is official on the record. Moving forward, Courtlyn.
Yep.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and in a year he's going to be a symbol, and then he's going to be something
The
formerly
artist
known
formerly known as Courtlyn.
That's what's up. Courtlyn, you were the new guy until the jackass that didn't show up, right? So I love you. If you guys are seeing this live right now, Denton is not here. He was driving all the way from Telluride, so he will get here when he gets here. But we just thought, hey, let's roll. We're going to go through this. But when Shay and I first saw you guys, it was Dylan, Eric, and Paul, the bass player, right? So what we wanted to chat about was like, how did Magoo become Magoo? And then being a deadhead, I'm lucky, I feel like I know what you're named after, but let's talk about the name and the formation of that.
I think I even know what you're talking about, Cody.
It's not.
Okay.
So where'd the band come from? How'd you guys meet each other?
Well, I moved out to Denver from Massachusetts, and I just posted on Reddit, and I was saying, any bluegrass pickers around or whatever. And do you know Tyler, our friend Tyler Ballantyne?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dear friend.
Our dear friend, Tyler. We love you. He responded, and he had a band called the Good for Nothing Thunder Mountain Boys with Eric. And eventually they let me play with them after about 2 months of me asking. And
But shouldn't you be saying all this in Spanish? Because there was something that happened before you came to Denver, isn't there?
like traveling or?
Yeah, traveling and then getting your Dobro licks in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Who would have thought? Oh, yes. You spent a bunch of time in Median, right?
Yeah. I went down there basically because it was, cheaper to live down there, and I could just practice the Dobro instead of working all the time, so.
But it wasn't the Dobro that you initially picked up when you first got into music, right? You were playing a traditional guitar, and from my understanding, didn't Paul tell you that his wrist or his hand had gotten hit?
You'd run into some issues with your wrists trying to play. It became painful.
Yeah, I hurt my left hand. I was actually living in Nashville at the time, and I was just playing the guitar all day, every day, just literally, 10, 12 hours a day, until my left hand just started hurting, and I couldn't play the guitar anymore. So I went out and bought a Dobro, and I've been playing the Dobro ever since.
But isn't it kind of wild? Because from talking to some people, and they were like, well, it seemed like he was in his head, right? Or was it that you went into Swole Bro Dobro Daddy? What happened? What made the difference?
It's kind of crazy. I had all these hand issues, and they really did hurt. And then I found this book by this guy, John Sarno. It's called, The Mind-Body Prescription.
Yep.
And it talks all about just, the mental connection to, chronic physical pain and stuff. And so I read it, and then since that day, that was probably 3 years ago, I haven't had any pain whatsoever, and I don't hold back at all. I play all the time, hours and hours a day.
And the Alexander.
Yeah, I did some Alexander technique stuff as well. That's right. Yeah, which is just I don't know. Do you know how to describe the Alexander technique?
It's basically the way you do anything is the way you do everything, is their philosophy. Basically, just like the way you hold yourself and the way that you think about what it is that you're doing and how you're feeling on a constant basis.
Energy attracts, essentially, right?
Pretty much. And how you hold your hands is the way you hold your hands all the time. So if you think that your hands are hurting from the way that you're holding them, they're just going to hurt from the way you're holding them all the time, basically.
And it's wild because now, like, Dylan is constantly putting out videos on his Instagram. You're constantly practicing. I'm constantly trying to see what's written on your whiteboard. Uh, but it's been fun to see, like, this evolution and growth. So you went on Reddit. You found Eric. You found this band. And how did that evolution start to grow?
Well, so I started playing with those guys, Eric and Tyler, and they needed a bass player as well. So Paul came out here and he joined the band. And then
Give it up for Paul, the bassist,
Yeah,
the OG.
Paul,
Paul, we
the
love
original
you.
bass player.
I don't know if
Miss
you're
you, buddy.
watching from Thailand. We're going live from the What's the Reason for This Instagram. We love you, Paul. But that was super cool because you're like, hey, man, you need to get out here, right?
Yeah, and he's the man. So he was living in Massachusetts, working on Nantucket, and I just said, hey, we need a bass player. So 2 weeks later, he was living in Denver.
And he's your uncle, right?
yeah.
Uncle Paul's just showing up to get you out. So then for Eric, for you, buddy, like I was lucky enough to talk with some people, and you've been in bands since you were a little guy, right? And you've been playing since you were 8. I talked to your mom, and she said that you had 2 volumes, which baffles me because she's like, as a young boy, he was either really loud or not. And that was it. And you're like so calm whenever I see you. And I'm like, we're the opposite of that, right? And it's funny for her to say that because I was like, wait, what? And then she was talking about a band that you had as a teenager with some friends. I can't remember the name of it now. Stew, yes, dude. And then you guys have been planning a Stew reunion, right? Or is that just a running joke?
I mean, I would love that, but it's probably well in the future.
We can have a one-off, though, right? Like when Magoo gets big enough for their own festival, then Stew opens for Magoo,
Let's do it.
right?
Bust out the electric
But
guitar.
Stu,
But so Eric, like, how did you start going from a teenager playing in these bands? You obviously weren't starting in bluegrass. How did that love for this music start to grow, and when did you start transitioning? Not
Yeah.
like that, transitioning into music. Don't you laugh.
Yeah, so I played electric guitar, like you said, since I was a kid, and it really wasn't until COVID when I started flatpicking. I got my first Martin guitar in 2020, and I had all the time in the world, obviously, we all did in 2020. So I started studying Tony Rice and Norman Blake and Doc Watson and Billy Strings, and kind of hunkered down and actually learned how to flatpick. Ever since then, I barely pick up the electric guitar now, actually, which is kind of wild because I played it for so long before that.
Talking about wild, if you guys don't know, there's a beautiful clip that I'm going to post on the internet later, and it's a young 9-year-old CJ fronting a Kiss cover band. Do you remember that, bud?
that was the School of Rock. That
The
was
School of
that was
Rock,
a
it
Kiss
indeed was.
show that Rock School did. Yeah.
So how did you end up, because, all right, so I joke baby blue eyes. All of us that have been seeing Magoo for a long time knows that he's got a shirt on now, but it won't last, right? So
Probably not today.
he's a
Yes.
good boy today. Yes. But so how did you get into music so early? Was your family into it, or how did that grow?
No, I was the only one. I had a Kiss CD. I had a CD of this band called Podunk from Texas, who's like kind of like family to me in a way. And then here's a story. The rhythm guitar player for that band Podunk, I'm not gonna say his name, but he had gotten a Dewey and called my folks and just asked like, hey, can you help me out? Can I stay at your house for like, a month or two? And they said yeah, and I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, and that was the first couple guitar lessons I ever got was from him, just in his free time while he was just staying on the couch because
That's
he was
wild.
in trouble. And then he got his shit together pretty well, and then when I was like 9 or so, he just started coming around and giving me guitar lessons. No, I must have been about 7, and he gave me a couple guitar lessons. I would just kind of plug in. I had a guitar and an old amp that was my dad's, and I would just plug it in and make noises on it and just be like, I'm gonna do this. And then when I was about 8 years old, my folks found the School of Rock, and at the time, it was a really affordable program. It was like they had like these scholarship programs and stuff for kids that really wanted to do it and couldn't afford it, you know? So that's how I got started and did that for like 5 years probably. Learned a lot through those guys.
What was wild was when I showed Shay the video and you're watching this little 9-year-old Ripper in full Kiss makeup, you move the exact same way you still do now with your swaying like you're ripping on a mandolin, and you're like, oh man, that is 1,000% CJ.
My mom made that costume.
No, she didn't. Thank you, Mrs. Bills.
She'll be here in a bit.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, they fed us some good stuff. So then it was Eric, Dylan, Paul. You guys ended up becoming a trio, right? So when did you split off and become the trio? Because I think I saw you at the 50th Telluride Bluegrass Fest when you guys had done the amateur contest, but you guys had been playing for a little bit before. I know Shay saw you for the first time at Renewal picking at camp. So when did you guys split off and become a trio?
Well, was it 2 years ago, Eric? Like a little over 2 years ago, with the band, the Good for Nothing Thunder Mountain Boys that we were in before, and we still are in on occasion. We play with that band. Eric was playing the mandolin, and he wanted to be a guitar player, so we formed another project with him on the guitar, basically. And I didn't even know Eric was a good guitar player until like a year after I was playing with him. I just thought he was a great mandolin player, and I had no idea how good of a guitar player he was. And
it was
amazing.
the polar opposite for me because I saw these photos and videos of him, little Eric, fucking ripping and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know. I had no clue. So what was it that drew you to pick? And obviously you had all this time during COVID. Was there a riff or a song that you felt and you're like, oh, this feeds my soul?
It was actually a Jeff Austin band show at Cervantes in
Let's go.
2019. Kyle Tuttle was playing banjo with him at the time. Amazing band. That was the very first bluegrass show I ever saw, and it just blew my mind. Like, I love Grateful Dead and Fish and jam bands, and that band incorporates all of those elements of like jam music, but then the beauty of the bluegrass and like acoustic instruments and the harmonies. It's like it had everything, and fast picking, fast playing, like everything I love about music. So I was like, holy shit, that's what I want to do. I want to play bluegrass.
That's awesome. So then how long was it from you guys being a trio to when you went to do that amateur contest at Telluride? Because CJ was actually on stage with you then, right? So did you guys...
That was the 51st is the one we did the competition for.
So it was probably...
Because you guys met at Telluride, correct?
The
Yeah.
50th.
Yeah,
we met
that was the one with
yeah.
all the great weather.
Yes, where we...
The only Telluride I've ever been to was that one, and it's very memorable.
And in 15 years, it's the only one that they kicked us out.
Hi,
that they stopped.
Denton. Everybody give him a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Love you, buddy.
The backbone and basis of the band has arrived. He has arrived. We'll give him shit later, but I want to get back to this. So you meet at the 50th, and then the next year later, you guys are going on the amateur contest. And can I say that you got robbed? I can say that, right? Because you guys ripped on the final stage, and
Eric told me it wasn't about who came in first, but I, to this day, will hold a grudge about that.
Yeah, that's what he's
If you ain't
supposed to
first,
say.
you're last.
We can be the assholes.
Yeah.
You guys deserve to win. And then what was dope was you rolled right into Rocky Grass after that, right? And then that's when Dylan won the flat picker for the Dobro, right? Which was pretty fucking amazing because you guys are starting to get this exposure. You haven't even been a band for a very long time, and you're starting to grow, right? But at that same time, you're starting to grow, and Paul's telling you guys, like, hey, I want to go travel. Right? So, like, how early did that come in, and then how did that change the trajectory of what was going on?
Well, I think, Paul had traveled a lot when he was younger and stuff, and he always loved it. He always would go over for, like, 1 month every year to some, other country and explore. And he hadn't gotten to do that for, like, 30 years. He'd been working all the time, basically. So he decided, he wants to go travel the world. And what was the question?
So how did him wanting to leave the band, how did you guys start preparing for that, knowing that, hey, he's trying to step out, right? And Paul, you're a quitter, because you also quit on the band in Massachusetts that you were in too, right? And he's like, oh, I want to be done. And then that's when you ended up leaving town and going to Nashville and eventually Colorado, correct? At least this is what, in Paul's words, what he told us.
I don't know. I mean, I played every single gig with Paul as the bass player that I for like 10 years probably. I probably played 600 gigs with Paul playing bass. So it was like weird at first, playing without him.
When did he say like, hey boys, I want to go travel? Like,
What was that like?
the fall of 2024.
Yeah.
Around Halloween probably.
Yeah, probably.
He
about
said
that.
basically, what was it? You got till
He gave us a
January
deadline.
20th or something.
yeah,
like
he
that.
literally gave you like 90 days. It was like his termination. He's like, all right, clock's ticking. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
So then how did that change for you guys? Did you know where you were trying to go? Had you met Denton before? How did that go? Because, like, we were lucky enough. You guys were amazing. We threw a benefit show for Hurricane Helene victims last October, and you guys played. Paul wasn't with you at that time. You guys had somebody else that was sitting in. But how was it interviewing bassists? What does it look like to add to your family, right? Because, like, you guys are spending so much time together. It's also changing your sound as a band and the structure. So what was it like for you guys evaluating who those were, and how did you find who was like auditioning for the band?
I think we basically based it off of vibe. Like, it almost felt like Path of Least Resistance. Like, how can we like mesh with somebody and just make stuff happen? And I think that was like pretty much the premise of the entire search. I mean, we tried a couple musicians that we really loved and some really good, there's some damn good musicians in Denver, Colorado. Like,
Yes, sir.
there are, there's top tier musicians on every instrument when it comes to bluegrass within, 15 miles of here, and I think that's basically all it took was like a couple of really good, easy jams with Denton in the living room, and we just looked around and we were like, okay, this works. This is right. It feels good. Let's.
So when was the first time that y'all played together?
We did a Halloween party at our friend Sarah's house. We've played that the last 2 years, and Denton joined us for that. And our friend JT, actually, I believe, talked to Eric. He kind of put Denton in contact with us.
James Taylor, there he is. Give
Let's
it up
go,
for
buddy.
James Taylor.
Thanks, JT. We
And
appreciate you.
Let's not forget too that that was our first time that the Mammoth Boys reached out to us. Was the day after that Halloween show too. So that was like a sign to us as well that Denton was the guy for
Like,
us.
this is it.
Yeah, and Mammoth,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, that's our management company.
And then
Shout
when did the beef jerky engagement happen? Right?
That was my question. I couldn't remember what the ring was made
It was
of.
a Slim Jim, bro. It was a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
Fat kid never forgets food. Okay.
Well, they did that. They did that to me whenever they asked me to join the band, and then whenever we were talking about asking Denton to join the band full time, I can't remember exactly how the conversation goes, but it goes, "Should I go buy a Slim Jim?"
Yes.
Right, I guess it's time for the Slim Jim, huh?
That's amazing. So then you guys have increasingly been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Obviously, Shay and I have been blessed to see you guys live a bunch of times. And then since adding Denton, there's just been something different, right? There's been a spark allowing you guys with your jams going out farther and coming back. So you obviously felt something when you were playing with him. And how is that feeling going now that you guys get to play with each other more and more, and your trajectory, right? Because now you guys are just starting your first nationwide tour. You officially have a van. It doesn't smell like fish. But we'll talk about that later. But like, how was the addition of Denton? How did that change your trajectory? Did you guys start changing some of the covers and stuff that you guys were playing, or how did that evolution go?
I'd say pretty much business as usual. I mean, the jams got a little bit deeper, a little bit fatter. I mean, we kind of can explore some new territory with his background in jamming and the grooves that he can hold down. He's the groove master. So I think that's where we kind of opened up the doors a bit. But as far as covers go, I mean, we're pretty much doing what we were playing before and adding some new stuff within that same realm of genre.
I mean, is that part of it? He steps in and starts to play, and you notice like, oh, this really isn't that different because he fits so well. That's what makes it work.
We sent him a long list of songs. We're like, learn these ones, and he learned pretty much all of them. Yeah.
So then how has it been working for you guys, like putting out new music? Obviously, the first album came out. It wasn't with CJ, correct? Or Courtlyn, whatever you want to be called, the artist formerly known as. But how has it been now having CJ writing stuff? I'm sure like with a nationwide tour, we'll get an album in the next year or whatever when that comes. But the process starts now, right? So like, how has that been for you guys? Because being the creepers that we are, watching all your Instagrams and like seeing you at like cabins and lodges, and we're like, man, we just want to hang out and listen to the process, right? So like, give us a little bit of a taste of what is it like for you guys as you're going through, when you're going up on these retreats to make music. What are you guys focusing on? How is that process for you? Do you start with a pen and paper?
What are you saying, like writing? Or?
Yeah, or like new music, right? So like, do you guys like have licks? You're like, oh, hey, I have this riff. Like, let's check this out. Or I've been writing these lyrics. I want to put something to it. What has your guys' sense been since becoming the foursome with Denton?
I think typically we've been just kind of, each of us will just come to the table with a damn near finished song.
Okay.
And just be like, this is the song. This is all the parts, and then we'll kind of sprinkle some, hey, let's just do this chorus twice, or let's do a stop here, and then just make very slight arrangement changes just to turn it into a more full song and make it a little different compared to like maybe, if one person's writing a bunch of songs, they're all going to end up kind of running together. So then, having the different minds turns it into a Magoo song, having one person come to the table with a damn near finished thing, and then the other people going, let's try this, let's try that, these small changes, and then it's ready. Then you got a fully cooked song.
That's actually really interesting because, I mean, there's songs that we know like Courtlyn wrote or that Eric wrote, and you can kind of feel some of that stuff. You guys take the lead on those songs as well. Do you guys write songs for the other people in your band, being like, Eric, for you, being like, hey, I know with Courtlyn's chops, like, I want to write this for him, or, okay, I want to put in a Dobro solo that's going to come in heavy or whatever it is. Because can I talk about how, like, heavy, I don't know what you did to your Dobro in, like, the last 6 months or what pedal you added to your board, but, like, that heavy fucking, dude, just hit me. I love it. I love it.
It's the overdrive.
Yeah, I like that. I've changed a little bit since, actually, this week. I just went to our friend Drew Becker's house to kind of run through some effects and stuff on my pedal board, so we'll see how it sounds now, but I'm sure it's good. I mean, he's a pro, so.
But so, like, for you guys, are you always challenging yourself? Are you guys pulling back to the foundational bands that you listened to before you got into bluegrass? How do you find your sound, or where are you taking your inspirations from?
I think it's different every time. Like, whatever the inspiration's coming from, at least, I can speak for myself. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this is kind of semi-universal. It's like whenever you hear something in your head, you can typically like trace back where that like influence is coming from, and then go back and study or pull from whatever that influence is the most that you can. So for example, like if you're writing a song like I'll use like Picking Flowers for an example. That's like a pretty standard bluegrass thing, but I want to make it like a little weird. So then it's like, who is it that's gonna make stuff kind of, take like a Del McCoury style straight up bluegrass trad tune and then sprinkle in some weird turnarounds, right? Well, I'm gonna think completely trad and basically just copy that influence, which is an algorithm that we've been seeing for like 100 years now, right? And then it's like, okay, well, I know that Jeff Austin or Billy would do a flat 2 here and then, maybe like a flat 3 here just for this section of the turnaround. What kind of energy would they use for that? And then that kind of just turns into that, and then boom, now you have a new thing that becomes an influence,
How much has playing in other bands and other genres helped you guys be able to do that and adapt to what you're creating with Magoo?
I would say, I mean, for me personally, I've been in a lot of jam bands, so we certainly jam here in Magoo, and like all those experiences jamming with other bands, whether I know it or not, it's seeping into the music here. Yeah.
Where are you going in your head when you're like ripping through a lick, right? Like, do you have comfortable progressions that you go through? Are you playing certain riffs, or is it just like, I always tell people, they're like, oh my God, that was such a great question. I'm like, I'm literally like Will Ferrell up here. I black out. I have no idea what I say, no recognition. You ask me to repeat what I say, I can't do it, right? So I don't know where you guys go as musicians, but sometimes it just like comes out, right? So is it similar?
Yeah, there's a lot of improvisation, and we all kind of have our like home base of like, I've got riffs I can fall back on that I know I'll crush. But the really good stuff, I think, happens when you're like finding new riffs and new territory and stuff that maybe you haven't even played before, like in a jam. It's like, oh man, you're getting deep into something here, new territory, because you're so in the zone, you're so present, you're not thinking about anything, you're not trying to like, you know, have any biases or anything.
Yeah.
Denton.
Yeah, get cozy, bud.
What's up, Denton?
There he is.
Denton Turner, ladies and gentlemen. He just got all the way from Telluride. Were you busy watching After the Attack? Ha ha! Pick that microphone up, motherfucker. Let's talk.
There's kids in the crowd, Cody.
No, I told Breckenridge, okay? I told them. I said, have you ever seen my podcast before? They're like, yes, we love it. Our first promo video, I purposely made it a bunch of cursing back and forth so that they knew knew what they were getting into. I'm not dropping F-bombs all the way. They're just descriptive adjectives. But it was really fun because I reached out to a lot of your guys' friends and family, and I was like, hey, I don't want this to be the same boring story. And it was awesome because your mom is telling me about like, oh, hey, you need to go watch this show. It's called After the Attack for all of you that are listening. Go check it out. It's actually the first episode, isn't it, bud?
What do they call it? The Pioneer episode or whatever?
Yes, sir.
The pilot.
Pilot. Thank
The
you.
pilot
yeah.
episode.
I like Pioneer better, honestly.
Pioneer works.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is when I talk now.
Yep.
Yeah, this is all you. This isn't me. You want me to tell your story? I can. I talk a lot, but nobody wants to hear me. Let's hear you.
I'll make it quick. I know the podcast is probably running out of time. I started bass in 5th grade, quit in high school because I didn't think it was very cool. I just wanted to play disc golf, with my friends instead of practice Mozart. Well, yeah, it's cooler now to play bass. So I tell kids, your idea of what is cool will change through life, and there's never you may never regret learning an instrument, even though, piano, flute, fiddle, you get to high school, it might not look cool, but then, 8 years down the road, you might be on Red Rocks. So don't ever, forget that. I wish somebody had told me that in high school, when I was playing disc golf. Like, well, you might be in a cool band called Magoo doing a podcast in Breckenridge someday.
Well, maybe that grizzly was just trying to whisper you sweet nothings. Can you tell the story?
So anyway, I quit the bass, and at that time I was just a nature freak. I worked out west every year. I went and worked in Yellowstone. Make it short, I walked up on a mama grizzly bear with 2 little cubs, or she walked up on me. I was standing on the side of the hill. I was just minding my own business, and I turned around. She was staring at me, little cub. And since I guess we're cussing, I was like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? And she, essentially pawed at the ground, snarled, and took off sprinting right at me. She bit me, scratched me up, had to get staples in the back of my head. But Animal Planet hit me up one day. It was like, we want to have you on After the Attack. Amazing. And I was like, well, cool,
What's it pay?
Not much.
Hey, but listen, it did pay something because
I was really bad at contracts back then.
Yeah, but what did you do with the money that you did get from that show?
So they sent me. I had to deal with a really egotistical host for a week. Drove around in a van with him.
It wasn't me.
No. Yeah. They took me back to the spot where it happened. I had to get in a little pin with the I didn't have to, but I was like, I'm down for whatever.
That was insane. I watched that show. That
Dude,
was
it
crazy.
is wild. It is wild.
I put my hand. The bear's name was Adam, but the trainer's son had a cow prod behind his back just in case. It was like it's trained, it's not domesticated. So, I was freaking out. But yeah, they sent me home with $1,000 check. I lived in Boone, North Carolina at the time. I'd been getting really into bluegrass and that whole culture. And, I'm watching people pick, and I'm like, I bet if I had a bass, I could get into this, And so I spent $100 on weed, and I was like, I got to do something with this money. I never had $1,000 in my life. So in Boone, North Carolina, you can walk into the little music store, and there's an $800 bass. So I bought my first bass with that $1,000. And, yeah, I have a little grizzly bear playing the bass with a little heart, and I feel so much gratitude for that, experience in my life because, people are like, oh, man, did they, this or that. And I don't know, I just feel like she gave me so much life. Everything I'm experiencing right now is because of her. If that had never happened, I may never have bought the bass and may have come 10 years later. I would never be here with these guys, and I would never met you, Cody. And I just feel so very fortunate that for her, and I just hope that those little cubs have gotten to live out the rest of their life, living happy bear lives, because I feel like an idiot. I never want to come across as like some macho. People are like, man, you're a badass. You went out there and like did this.
Wrestled a
I'm like,
bear.
I went out and was looking at flowers and butterflies, and she smacked my ass down and let me go, and I feel so much gratitude to her because that's why I'm here today, and yeah.
And so now what I want from Magoo is at some point we need a bear set. Okay, I want all bear songs.
I used to sing Slewfoot, but
Dude,
have you ever
yes.
heard Dylan sing?
Oh, buddy.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, I love it, and I love the way he sings it. It's incredible, and yeah, and it just you never know what little things happen to you every day. Your life can change the trajectory, and
And that's
you
actually
can
a
slip
great,
on a rock. You can.
I mean,
fall
I was
on the
getting stoned in
floor.
poster line, and now I'm here with this guy.
Yeah.
and now he can't get away from me, even though he wants to.
That's true.
But that's what's cool is because like all these things happen, and we can say that things happen for a reason. We were talking about the Alexander effect before. It's like energy attracts, right? So then you guys got together, you got in this room, and now I feel like things are really starting to pick up for you guys, right? You just got a show at Garcia's in Chicago. I was supposed to be there, I couldn't, but my buddy, he made it there. We made a point to not let you guys know that we were showing up, because that was your first out-of-state show for that national tour that you guys are on, right? Yep. And so how many tour stops do you have going through after this? When are you guys playing? There's a lot of people out in the internet that are saying, hey, when are you guys coming to my town? When are you coming to this part of the country? What are you doing? Also, I'm not going to put too much pressure on you because I know that you're working on it. Live music. We want to hear live recordings.
June 26th.
Oh, 4 days, baby. Let's go.
Yes.
Okay, so that gets us to our live music. Where are your next stops? Where are you guys going? Where can we check you out? And what can we look forward to in these next couple of months?
I think it's in total about 34 dates through September. Yeah, we've got a run of Colorado shows here today. We're playing in Vail next weekend. 4th of July in Blackhawk, and then we got a good Texas run in July, 5 days in Texas, Carolinas in August.
And Texas is home for Courtlyn, right?
That's right, yep.
That's my home.
Yeah.
And this
And-
is just the summer tour. We have more that haven't been announced. So
Oh, yeah.
I like to tell people we're going everywhere. It's just a matter of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should. So I
You got
don't
a
want to
busy
take
team.
any more time from the people because most of them didn't come here to hear me. What they want to do is hear more from you guys. We're going to give the boys a little bit of time to grab some food, to catch up. Denton just got here. We may have to sound check him. And then you guys will be playing 2 sets here for us, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing I have to ask about, because it is the song that Shay passed out to you afterwards. Courtlyn, Billie Jean. Billy Strings is not my lover.
Billy Strings is not my lover.
So how do you guys come up and pick some of these covers that you are playing?
Usually in the middle of practicing another song, it'll be
Squirrel!
like, hey, wait a second. What if we did? We just stop in the middle of the song. What if we did this? And that's basically all. There's no intention.
And all I do is tell these guys songs I want them to play all the time. So I already said Bear Set. By next Christmas, if you don't sing Mariah Carey, Courtlyn, I'm coming after you.
I think it's more of a Dylan kind of song, really.
Okay, and then the last thing, Dylan, why do you hate fat people and how come I can't buy a XXL t-shirt? What the fuck?
Yeah, Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan.
I don't know why this is. I'm not in charge of merch, but I love all people, first of all. And we have double XL on the way. We've ordered it.
We've got him on the way.
He's been telling me this for months. I have literally shouted this band's name anytime anyone asks me, hey, who do you listen to? Who are you listening? Magoo, Magoo, Magoo. You want to know how many Magoo shirts I have? None. Thanks, Dylan.
Cody,
I'm not in
are you
charge of
from
merch.
Wisconsin, Cody?
What?
Are you have green? Are you from Wisconsin?
Bro, okay, everybody. Packers hat from Hawaii.
Wow.
Makes
Well, we
no
got
sense.
we got what you just did. We got so much of that in Wisconsin. They're like, how are you
Bro,
gonna come
those
to
are my people.
Wisconsin?
We
eat
eat
cheese
and
and
live
drink
cheese
beer.
curds and
Where's
drink
the
beer.
double
Yes.
X? I'm like,
See? And
it's not just you.
So what I tell them is swole bro, dobro daddy, only like size medium, and someday I'll get my double XLs. He just says they're coming. He's been saying that to me for 2 or 3 months. Eventually, I will have a Magoo shirt. Right now, what I'm going to do is ask for a round of applause for these boys. Thank you guys for listening to us. We're going to give them a little bit of a break to get ready, and then they're going to come play some awesome music for you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.